Some of the biggest names in NBA history just linked up overseas for 5 straight days. And it wasn't for a game, a charity event, or a press tour. It was personal. LeBron James, Kevin Love, J.R. Smith, Tristan Thompson, Channing Frye, Richard Jefferson, Iman Shumpert, and Matthew Dellavedova all came together to celebrate 10 years since one of the greatest championship runs basketball has ever seen. The 2016 Cleveland Cavaliers back together, living it up like no time had passed. The trip started in London. Wine tastings near Tower Bridge, luxury watch shopping at Rolex and Audemars Piguet's AP house, dinners at spots most people will never see the inside of. Then they crossed into Scotland for the main event, a full golf retreat at Loch Lomond Golf Club, one of the most exclusive courses in the world. This wasn't thrown together last minute. This was coordinated weeks in advance, flights booked, schedules cleared, the whole thing locked in. Tristan Thompson posted a group photo and kept the caption simple. The group chat finally linked up. That's all he had to say. But within minutes, the comments section told a completely different story. Because while almost every key name from that legendary roster was accounted for, one face was clearly missing. And it wasn't just any face. It was the guy who hit the single most important shot in Cleveland sports history. Fans noticed immediately, and the questions started flooding in faster than anyone could keep up with. But it wasn't the fans who dropped the real bombshell.
Before going further, if you're enjoying this video, don't forget to smash that subscribe button. It really helps us keep bringing you the content you love. Share this video with your friends so they don't miss out on all the drama and excitement.
When NBA on ESPN reposted the reunion photo, the comment section turned into an investigation. Everyone wanted to know the same thing. Where's Kyrie? Some fans accused the group of leaving him out on purpose. Others figured there had to be a scheduling conflict. But before the theories could spiral any further, J.R. Smith stepped in and shut it all down himself. His response was direct. He said Kyrie wasn't missing because he wasn't invited. He was invited and ghosted them all. No reply, no explanation, no acknowledgement whatsoever. Just silence from someone who was supposed to be part of that brotherhood. Richard Jefferson backed it up in the comments too, making it clear this wasn't one person's frustration talking. The group felt it collectively. And here's some context that makes this hit even harder. J.R. Smith didn't just casually tag along on a golf trip. After retiring from the NBA, he actually enrolled at North Carolina A&T and became a collegiate golfer. Golf became a real part of his identity. So a 5-day retreat built around the sport, celebrating the most meaningful chapter of his career that wasn't something he took lightly. None of them did. This was personal, and Kyrie's silence landed like a statement whether he meant it that way or not. The internet did what the internet does. Clips got made, takes got shared, and the narrative locked in fast. Kyrie Irving ghosted his 2016 teammates. Case closed. But while everyone was running with that headline, the real story of where Kyrie actually was tells a much more layered version of events. According to reports, Kyrie never actually RSVP'd to the reunion because his calendar was already full, and not with vacations or personal downtime. He was working. From June 8th through the 12th, Kyrie was at the NBPA Top 100 camp in Rock Hill, South Carolina, getting on the court and going one-on-one with some of the top high school basketball prospects in the country. This wasn't a quick appearance or a photo op situation. He was locked in alongside names like Rajon Rondo, Andre Drummond, Tyson Chandler, Sean Livingston, and trainer Phil Handy, spending real time mentoring young players and putting in work with them directly. Right after that, he traveled to northern New Jersey, stopping at Teaneck High School and West Orange High School for community outreach events tied to his ANTA partnership. Again, no cameras chasing him around. No massive headlines, just presence where he felt it mattered. What makes all of this hit differently is the timing. Kyrie tore his left ACL back on March 3, 2025, and missed the entire season recovering. These camps and appearances were some of his first real public basketball moments since the injury. Instead of using that return to the spotlight energy on a reunion trip, he chose to pour it into the next generation. People close to Kyrie have said this kind of focus traces back to something deeply personal, the influence of Kobe Bryant. Kyrie has spoken multiple times about how Kobe shaped his view on mentorship and passing the game down. That mindset clearly hasn't faded. Still, even with all of that context sitting right there, there's a reason the public wasn't quick to give Kyrie the benefit of the doubt. And that reason stretches back almost a full decade. To understand why fans reacted the way they did, you have to go back to where everything between Kyrie and that Cavs core first started cracking. And it didn't begin with some dramatic blow-up. It started with whispers. After that 2016 championship, everything should have been golden. Kyrie and LeBron had just pulled off one of the greatest comebacks in finals history, down 3-1 against a 73-win Warriors squad. LeBron dropped the chase down block. Kyrie rose up over Curry with under a minute left and buried the three that ended a 52-year title drought for Cleveland. That kind of moment is supposed to bond people for life. But behind the scenes, things reportedly started shifting fast. According to ESPN's Jackie McMullen, Kyrie became convinced that LeBron was quietly pushing the front office to explore trades involving him. Names like Damian Lillard and Chris Paul were reportedly part of those conversations. Around the 2017 draft, a framework surfaced that would have sent Kyrie to Phoenix for Eric Bledsoe, with Cleveland flipping assets to land Paul George from Indiana. Owner Dan Gilbert reportedly told LeBron he'd move forward with the deal if LeBron committed long-term to Cleveland. LeBron didn't make that commitment, and the whole thing fell apart. But the damage was already done. Kyrie found out those talks happened, and from his perspective, there's no way discussions go that far without LeBron's fingerprints on them. That belief, whether fully accurate or not, is what multiple insiders point to as the real breaking point. LeBron has always maintained he told the front office to keep Kyrie, and there are reports that back him up. But by the time those details surfaced, Kyrie had already made his decision. He went to the front office and requested a trade. By the summer of 2017, he was a Boston Celtic. Former head coach Tyronn Lue later described the moment LeBron found out. He was at a charity event doing autograph signings when the news hit on TV. LeBron reportedly put the marker down and went completely still for several minutes. That's not how someone reacts when they orchestrated the move. But it also showed just how far things had already drifted. Kyrie's farewell message to Cleveland didn't even mention LeBron by name. No heads up before the trade request. No emotional goodbye. He was just gone. For someone who delivered the most iconic shot in franchise history, that exit left a mark on the city that never fully healed, and the tension didn't stop there. Fast forward to late 2022, and the situation between Kyrie and his former inner circle took another hit, this time from a completely different direction. While playing for the Brooklyn Nets, Kyrie shared a link on social media to a documentary that drew intense backlash for containing anti-Semitic material. The fallout was swift and severe. The Nets suspended him for at least 5 games without pay. Nike cut ties with him entirely, pulling his signature shoe line. The Anti-Defamation League got involved. This wasn't a basketball controversy anymore. It was national news. When reporters pressed Kyrie for answers, his early responses didn't exactly calm things down. It took a few days before he issued a full, clear apology, but by then, the damage had spread far beyond the court. Then the spotlight turned to LeBron, and his response landed somewhere that satisfied almost nobody. He acknowledged that Kyrie caused harm to a lot of people and made it clear he didn't support promoting hateful ideas toward any group. Coming from someone who shared a championship stage with Kyrie, that hit heavy. People close to Kyrie reportedly felt like LeBron didn't fully have his back during one of the most isolating stretches of his career. But here's the part that gets overlooked. Just days later, after the Nets handed Kyrie a list of requirements to return, things like sensitivity training and meetings with community leaders, LeBron pushed back publicly. He said Kyrie had already apologized and should be allowed to play, calling the conditions excessive. So LeBron landed right in the middle. He criticized what happened, but also questioned the punishment. Depending on how you look at it, that position either bridged the gap or widened it. And for someone going through the most publicly difficult moment of his life, a middle ground response from a former teammate can feel just as cold as no response at all. Stack that on top of 2017, and it becomes a lot easier to understand why Kyrie might not feel compelled to drop everything for a reunion, even one tied to the biggest moment of his career. So when the Scotland trip rolled around, there was already a full decade of history behind every unanswered text. Here's the part the initial wave of headlines completely missed because it didn't fit the narrative everyone had already locked in on. After the internet spent days running with the ghosting story, Kyrie actually responded. He posted on Instagram with a message that read, "All for one, one for all. They completed the mission together as brothers, and that's all that matters to him." No defensiveness, no shots fired, no drama. Just acknowledgement of the bond and the moment they all shared. And then came the real plot twist. J.R. Smith, the same person who put the ghosting claim out there in the first place, posted a follow-up update. He confirmed Kyrie reached out, said they were all good, and called Kyrie the greatest point guard he ever played with. Just like that, the energy shifted from beef to brotherhood. Reports later suggested that Smith's original comments were more lighthearted teammate ribbing than genuine animosity. The kind of thing that happens inside real friend groups but looks completely different when millions of strangers are watching and screenshot everything. So the actual ending to this chapter isn't nearly as dramatic as the internet made it seem. The connection between those guys didn't break. It just looks different now than it did in 2016. And that distinction matters more than most people are willing to sit with. But the reunion drama also arrived at a moment when Kyrie's entire basketball future was already hanging in the balance. The ACL tear on March 3, 2025 didn't just take Kyrie out for a season, it completely reshaped the landscape around him. While he was recovering, Dallas went 26-56 and the organization went through a full-scale overhaul. Jason Kidd was let go. Mas Ujiri was brought in as president. Mike Schmitz took over as general manager. And with the #1 overall pick, they selected Cooper Flagg, immediately shifting the franchise's entire timeline. Now Kyrie is walking back into a situation that looks nothing like the one he left. He's 34, carrying a $39.5 million salary for the upcoming season with a $42.4 million player option after that. Reports have linked teams like Detroit, Minnesota, Toronto, Brooklyn, and Milwaukee to trade conversations involving him. But so far, Dallas has told every team that Irving isn't available. Ujiri has publicly praised Kyrie, calling him one of the best players in the league and a championship-level talent. He's reportedly excited to see what an Irving and Flagg pairing could look like when both are fully healthy. On Kyrie's end, he recently went on Twitch and said he's close to being back at full strength, nearly at 100% with his ACL recovery. That lines up with what people saw at the NBPA camp, where he was moving well and competing without hesitation. But the reality is, this next stretch could define how Kyrie Irving's career is ultimately remembered. Does he come back and prove he can still perform at an elite level alongside a new generation? Or does the injury, the drama, and the years of unpredictability finally catch up to him? And maybe that's what this whole situation has really been about all along. Kyrie Irving in his mid-30s is not the same person who rose up over Steph Curry at 24 years old with the world watching. That version of him was still figuring out who he was beyond the court. This version has been through trade demands, public fallout, career-altering injuries, and enough scrutiny to break most people entirely. He's not chasing nostalgia. He's not trying to relive old glory. He's building toward whatever comes next, whether that's proving himself again in Dallas, mentoring the next wave of talent, or continuing the kind of quiet, impactful work in communities that never makes the trending page but changes real lives. The brotherhood with the 2016 Cavs isn't shattered. JR confirmed that himself, but it lives differently now. These aren't 25-year-old teammates riding the high of a championship anymore. They're grown men with separate lives, separate priorities, and separate chapters being written in real time. The banner still hangs in Cleveland. The shot still replays every single June like it happened yesterday. But the people behind those moments are more complicated than any highlight reel will ever show. And this week gave a rare, unfiltered look at that reality. So here's what I want to know from you. Do you think Kyrie's silence was really about ghosting his teammates, or is this just what growth looks like when the whole world is watching and refusing to understand it? Drop your take in the comments. Like, subscribe, and share this one because the conversation around this is far from over. I'll catch you on the next one.